Good morning, everyone. We are continuing with writing our literary essays about Squeaky. And today what I want to teach you is that when an essayist makes a claim and when we include evidence to support that claim, we also have to give our own thoughts explaining that evidence. So today we're going to talk about how we analyze our own evidence that we are providing. So a while ago, I was talking about my dog Cameron and how Cameron is so determined to get my attention. So when I am out raking, he starts barking at me. So that's my evidence. I can then further explain that saying this shows, or nope, I don't want to say that. I want to say it's important to know that Cameron only barks when he wants something. So I'm trying to further explain what my evidence, the evidence that I thought was important for you to know, I have to further explain that. So it shows a deeper understanding of these characters that we're talking about. So yesterday, I shared with you things to look for when annotating or looking closely at a mentor text. I shared this with you, and then I also shared, oh dear, I don't know that I have it up. This one. I shared with you this document, literary essay for Will from my side of the story. And it is a 5-paragraph essay. I have the intro, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Now, this is a rough draft. And what I did is we tried a discussion board yesterday, which let me show you. It was really good for our first attempt at it. And I think, too, the way that I shared it might have goofed some people up. But what are your observations about the mentor text? What did you notice the author has done in the essay, and what do they still need to do? And so I just want to show you, I gave you some phrases that you could use if you weren't sure how to discuss. And look at this. We've got Josh and Jacob. That started off with, things that they noticed. Started off the essay with a quote. I can see the author wrote chunks of a story. Josh thought that the writer needed more detail. And so in red, you can see my thinking and what I'm maybe questioning, trying to spur a little bit more of that discussion. Connor and Rose, Emma, you guys did an awesome job of telling me what is it that you noticed that the author did. What are some things that the author was missing? And one of the things that some of you said that the author was missing is the analysis part. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to show you how we can do that. And you have to do it today in your own essay. So at this point, I'm assuming that you all have an intro paragraph and 3 rough body paragraphs for your literary essay on Squeaky. So we continue to look at Squeaky from Raymond's Run. So this document I'm going to share with you today, ways to analyze evidence. So use these sentence starters to help you analyze your own evidence that you have about Squeaky. So these sentence starters, this shows because it is important to notice blank means blank, therefore blank. This is significant because even though blank, so fill in with your character, so even though Squeaky, and then let me show you some examples using will. So for example, if I use the phrase this shows because, it might sound something like this. This shows Will is inconsiderate because it is rude to enter a room with the door closed before knocking. Will's impatience and need to seek justice overpower his self-control. I think Will probably knows better than to barge into a room, but does so anyway. So that's an example of how you can use the phrase "this shows because." Another phrase that you can use is "it is important to notice." All right, so after I put down my evidence, then I'm going to talk about the analysis of it. It is important to notice that when Skip puts Scotch tape in Will's hair, Will reacted by running to get justice from his mom. He felt the need to tattle on Skip in hopes of getting Skip into trouble. Okay, another way to do this is the blank means blank, therefore blank. Being resourceful means figuring out problems on your own. Therefore, Will takes matters into his own hands to give his brother a dose of his own medicine by breaking one of Skip's trophies. Okay, so you might want to further explain maybe that trait or a word that you are using to describe your character. Okay, and the last two, this is significant because, so you could use this phrase to help analyze your evidence. This is significant because Will assumed he would find his mother behind the door and not his dad. Will ends up learning a very valuable lesson in manners. And then the last one, even though Will. Okay, so now I'm going to do that contrast contradiction. Even though Will did not get justice from his parents, he was resourceful and took matters into his own hands. Okay, so I then, this is just an example of how to use these phrases when you are analyzing your own evidence. I'm going to show you how that looks with an original body paragraph from my analysis on Will, or my literary essay on Will. So here is the example rough draft, my original. So the one that I took right from yesterday's discussion. Okay, so Will was determined to seek justice because he was self-motivated. At the beginning of the story, Will was minding his own business. He was practicing his signature while sitting at his desk. Will's brother Skip came in and asked if he wanted to shoot hoops. Will said no and proceeded to work on his penmanship. According to the author, on page 19, Skip unraveled an entire roll of Scotch tape and stuck it on my head. Will tried to get it off, but the tape became a part of his scalp. This was an outrage. Will was minding his own business and didn't even do anything to Skip to make Skip. Wait, what? And didn't even do anything to Skip to make him, do such a thing. Sorry. Whoa. This is why Will is determined to seek justice. He was being self-motivated by minding his own business. Okay, so I'm going to take that paragraph and now I'm going to dive back into it and I'm going to look at the evidence that I provided and I'm going to now analyze that evidence. So here we go. This is what it will look like. And I did it in red so that you could see the evidence that I'm analyzing and how I do it. Okay, so Will is determined to seek justice because he's self-motivated. At the beginning of the story, Will was minding his own business. He was practicing his signature while sitting at his desk. Will's brother Skip came in and asked if he wanted to shoot hoops. He said no and proceeded to work on his penmanship. Okay, so as I'm looking at that evidence that I provided, I want to further explain this now. And I want to use one of the sentence starters. So I'm going to say it's important to notice that Will is doing his own thing, and he had no desire to do any or do an activity with his brother Skip. Will had no idea what Skip was planning. Okay, so I'm telling you that it's important to notice this part, because Will was minding his own business. He didn't want to do an activity. He was being self-motivated by working on his own thing. Here's that other piece of evidence. According to the author, Skip unraveled all of the Scotch tape. And so I go back in and I say, this is significant because Will did nothing to Skip to provoke this injustice. Will was, again, minding his own business. I further say, this shows Skip was doing all he could to get a rise out of Will. I can imagine Will's outrage. So you're basically taking evidence today that you already have in your body paragraph, and now you're trying to add your own thinking, add your own explanation as to why is this evidence important? Why did you choose the evidence that shows exactly why your character was a certain trait? So it's kind of like you're trying to sell it. You're trying to say, hey, look, Squeaky was very brave, or Squeaky was very bold or rude or protective, right? So go ahead then and really further explain that. Remember, this is an argumentative essay. You're trying to argue your main points of Squeaky. And we're going to do that through this 5-paragraph essay. So that is your work for today. Again, I'm assuming that you already have those body paragraphs developed. So this is what you'll get today. After watching my lesson, please begin adding your analysis to your body paragraphs. Okay, so it's in a document, and unless you share it with me, I can't see it. So I'm not asking you to share it right now. Unless you have questions, certainly share it with me so I can take a peek at it. But at this point, I'm assuming that you have your intro and your 3 body paragraphs of Squeaky started. Then, of course, you have the reading log today. If you have time to read, that would be fantastic. And then your journal entry for today. I know it's kind of early, but sometimes if you have something in mind, like a project that you want to do for your mom or a special woman in your life, you can start thinking about that now. When you're finished with this document, go ahead and turn it in, and I'll be happy to take a look at it. So that's it for today. Again, you are analyzing your evidence. So give me your thoughts on and your explanations of why you felt the evidence that you provided was important. Google Meet at 9:20 and 1:40 today. We'll see you if you have any questions or if you just want to pop in and say hi. Have a great day, everyone.